can I just have your attention for a minute? The video that you're about to watch is a live video that I made. Like I don't edit those videos, right? And we're gonna draw a Minecraft character. You're gonna see it in a sec. That's this video. Okay, but I watched it just before I was about to upload it to YouTube, and I realized like I totally garbled the whole concept of perspective. Okay, Minecraft is great for learning perspective. I'm going to say that about 20 times in this video. But I don't actually really tell you what perspective is or help you make any sense of it at all. So I'm sorry about that. So what I thought I'd do is I'd just jump on quickly at the start of the video and give you a couple of really quick basics. Okay, so what is perspective? Here is a box of salt, okay? The idea with perspective is that things that are closer to you appear larger and things that are further away appear smaller. So, my head just got bigger, my head just got smaller, okay? My head didn't actually change size, it just looks bigger when it's closer and it looks smaller when it's further away. Okay, so when you have a three-dimensional object that you are trying to draw, like a box like this, right? That means that the closer bit of the box to you is going to look bigger than the further away bit of the box. Okay, and so that means that if you are drawing these lines, for example, they're not straight, like as in they're not flat. They angle and they work back at angles. And so perspective, learning to draw perspective is about working out how to know what angle, where's that line? What angle to draw these lines at, okay? And if you really look into perspective, there's something called a vanishing point, okay? Because these lines, because if I look at it that way, they're actually parallel, right? That is exactly straight to that. But as soon as I put it on an angle like this, they're not parallel anymore. They're actually angled towards each other. And if you kept drawing the line all the way back and all the way back, if you kept drawing it, eventually they would meet at what is called, somewhere back here, what is called the vanishing point, okay? Now, you could spend, there are whole books on trying to understand perspective, but think about boxes when you're drawing Minecraft, okay? And know that if the part of the character or the box is closer to you, then it's going to be bigger than the object that is further away, okay? And what you're practicing with perspective is working out how to get those lines at the right angle. And if you get the angle right, then the object will look three-dimensional. If you get the angle not quite right, then the object will look a little bit warped. And that just takes practice, okay? We can talk about this more another day. I just needed to give you a little bit of a preface to this video because I talk about perspective a lot and I never really tell you what it is. Okay, now have fun. Hey guys, it's Wednesday, hump day, because it's the middle of the week. You go up to the middle, up to the hump, and then down, hump day. I hope you're having a good day. Today is another Matt Learns How to Draw lesson, which basically means you, if you want to, can copy me as I work out how to draw a character I've never drawn before in my life. Today we are doing Steve from Minecraft. Okay, thank you to Levi, my friend Levi, for this suggestion, and Augie and Rufus. Thank you for your suggestion of Steve from Minecraft. And this is going to be fun, because this is quite an interesting kind of way to think about perspective. And so I'm going to talk about that kind of loosely as I draw. You can ignore all of that if you want and just copy the drawing. Or you can think a little bit about that, do some Googling about perspective, try to understand perspective a bit more. We'll probably talk more about perspective on another day. But for now, I reckon let's just have some fun drawing. Okay, cool, let's go. Now, the great thing about the Minecraft characters is, I mean, talk about characters made of shapes, right? That's what we've been talking about. We've been talking about breaking a character down to its shapes. And here we have Steve, who is absolutely made of shapes. Now, Steve is made of three-dimensional shapes, and that's super interesting because that means we get to talk a little bit about perspective here. Okay, so what we're thinking about is that these shapes are three-dimensional and they're on an angle, right? And that the way that, because everything is kind of made of straight lines, what we can actually do is work out, everything's going to kind of line up, and I'll show you what I mean. So let's just block some of these shapes in here. Notice I'm really just blocking in actually the shapes that would make up Steve, like the actual kind of blocks, right? It's going to come out there, maybe more there. See, if you can use kind of working out how to draw Minecraft to really train your eye and your hand for drawing perspective, then I mean you can draw buildings, cities, all sorts of things. Perspective is about these angles, right? It's about like how do you know how to draw these lines at the right angle? And I will show you what I mean. I'm just going to get these kind of stenciled shapes in first. Probably put him a little bit too far on this side of the page, but that's all right. Okay. We've pretty much got the shapes blocked in. Okay, I think that leg probably is supposed to be a little bit bigger than that. So we're pretty good. Okay, now, these are our three-dimensional shapes, right? So this is effectively a cube up here. Probably needs to be a little bit taller, doesn't it? Okay. There's a cube up there. Now, if it's a cube, that means that on each side of on each square on the various surfaces, you notice that these lines are parallel, right? They're kind of, if you were looking at Steve's face flat, everything would kind of line up. So what I'm actually going to do is put a bit of a grid on it, but because we're using perspective, because we're drawing Steve at an angle, okay, then these straight lines, see how that line is not parallel to that line, okay? They're fanning out like that, okay? So the straight lines that we do to create a bit of a grid have to change slightly so that we fan from there down to there. I don't feel like I'm explaining this very well, but hopefully it will kind of make sense as I draw it. Now, these lines on here have to do the same thing. They have to kind of line up between there, and they have to change angle as we go down. So that means what we can do is we can go, okay, so his hair comes across here. And I'm making that parallel to that. Comes down here. Okay. Now this, let's get the nose in, which I think is probably around there. And the eyes come off the nose. And that comes around there like that. You see under his head there, and then here we get here, this, straight, 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 straight. Great. That shape, that shape, that shape. I mean, talk about thinking about your character as a three-dimensional object is really, really helpful. I reckon if you practiced drawing Minecraft over and over again, and you got really good at drawing Minecraft characters from different angles, then it would help the rest of your drawing so much. Because what you're thinking about are angles and perspectives. What you're thinking about is the fact that there's kind of a line there, an invisible line. There's another one there, fading off into the distance. So if you were to draw another character that was supposed to be walking behind Steve, they too would line up with some of those lines. Right? And they would fit in there. Okay, let's get our marker in here. Now, you could do this with a ruler. That's how straight everything is. In fact, it would probably look pretty cool if you drew it with a ruler. I'm not going to worry about it for now, because it would take a little bit longer. Round, down, round. There we go, let's get those eyes in. And this one. And across there. Now notice in this drawing too, that light and shadow is really important. So we're going to talk a little bit about that when we get to it too. Because that again is kind of helpful to think about when you're thinking about really blocky shapes like this. That was a bit crooked, that's all right. And then down here, that one is actually in behind there, isn't it? Cross that way. Let's get this leg in. Everything is a straight line. So cool. Now, this would be a really good one for colouring, actually. I'm not going to do that now, because otherwise the video would be too long. And I think you can work out the colouring pretty easily. But this would be a good one for colouring. I'm just going to make that kind of the edge of his shirt there a little bit shorter. Now, while we're doing this, I want you to have a think about where the light is coming from in this picture. Where is the light coming from? What is the source of the light? Because you need to work that out so that you can work out where the shadows go. Okay, I think that's all of our lines. I don't think I've missed anything. Okay, let me tell you. The light in this picture is coming from this direction. It's like there is a light up here shining down on there. And what that means is every surface that is facing where the light is coming from is going to be lighter than a surface that is facing away. So that means that this section is more shadowy than this section. It means this underside here, underneath his arm, is in shadow because the light is up here. It means this, the under part of this arm, is in shadow too, as is the end here. It means this bit is in shadow because it's underneath the arm. Now actually the light must be quite high. Must be quite high because it's shining on the top of that leg. So actually, sorry, it's more up here because this side is in a bit of shadow and under here is in a lot of shadow. And what we're doing here is we're giving our image depth. Okay, not a lot of light getting in underneath his head there. Okay, I'm not going to worry about blocking in the shadow on that side of his face in this drawing, just because I actually want to use my kind of extra tone here just to get in some of these dark tones on his face. So I'm going to do his hair. It's interesting to think about when you're doing a drawing with color or when you're doing a drawing in black and white, because you still want to use tone to show different shapes, okay, and to show shadow, but you've only kind of got one to work with. I'm also going to leave out that shadow because I think it'll be a little bit confusing there, but let's get that in there. And there we go. There is Steve from Minecraft. Now you can use what we've just done here, thinking about the character in multiple shapes, to do basically any Minecraft character that you like. So there we have it. Steve from Minecraft. I hope you enjoyed doing that. That was really fun. I can see a couple of spots where my shapes are slightly out of proportion. So like, I think probably my arm needed to be a little bit bigger and my head needed to be a little bit smaller. Okay, but that's okay. That's what I work out for next time, right? I've never drawn this character before, so cut yourself some slack. Now, I hope you enjoyed doing that. Thanks, Levi, for that suggestion. Remember, you can take that way of drawing to copy anything in Minecraft because it's all made out of those blocks and shapes. It's all straight lines. And I would totally encourage you to color it in because you've probably got most of those colors in your pencil box or your texture box. So have fun. Cool. Thanks, guys. Hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you tomorrow.